88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the Central Washington University Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuned in already, you are seeing on your screen right now your broadcast crew here. Michael, get yourself in here for just a moment. Folks, I am Ryan Gildersleeve alongside Gabriel. Gabriel, your last name?
Brewer.
Of course. And Michael Jones, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a great night of action, if you will, for both of our two teams that we've got going on today. Of course, we're going to start off tonight's action with the women's basketball team taking on Northwest Nazarene University. Now, coming into this game, there's a couple of things that you need to know. Both of these teams are playing great basketball to start off the season. Central Washington is undefeated in play throughout the entire span of this year. It's going 6-0 up until this point. It's really been a great year. It's been the transition that people have been hoping for from what last year looked like to what this year could be. Now, with that, we are, of course, in the Nicholson Pavilion getting ready for some home basketball action, and we know what that means once the game starts. But there's a couple of things to keep in mind before we get started here, folks. Let's go through what information you need to know before this game tips off. Of course, we're about 4 minutes away from that going on. So, it's names to watch for Central Washington University. Folks, if you watched last year, you're going to recognize all of these names. The number one name, I feel like we can all kind of agree on this, it's Sunny Huerta. Sunny Huerta has really taken over the number one role on this team. She's been a great fluid scorer all through last year, coming into this year. The three ball is there. Folks, something to keep in mind with Sunny Huerta so far this year. If you looked at her first 4 games, this number would be even higher. The three-point percentage currently is 56%. So when she takes them, you can expect she's going to make them. Above that, Central Washington leads the Great Northwest Athletic Conference in three-point percentage. This has been the best team from beyond the arc, and this has been the team that's really been able to lead in almost all categories if you look at what the offense was able to do last year coming into this year. Michael, what have you seen from these games starting off the year, and what are you most excited about coming into this one?
Well, I think you pointed out great. Sunny Huerta, who came into the season the GNAC preseason Player of the Year, and she's living up to all expectations. I mean, she's shooting just under 40% inside the arc and somehow shooting 16% better from beyond the arc. I mean, it's just incredible the stats that she's been putting up this season and how that's turned Central Washington on average into an elite shooting team. But there's always another name, and this season it's been as bright as ever. It's Asher Kai. She has been a catalyst for everything. When the Wildcats offense just isn't quite getting it, she turns a notch, and it just all of a sudden they go on a run. On defense, she has locked down every position that she is expected to guard. She's averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals a game. Those are incredible numbers, and honestly, she's pushing Huerta to try and be the best player on this team. They are at a race with each other on not just who is leading this team, but on a lot of Central Washington career lists in terms of stats. And when both of them are firing, I don't think there is a better team in the country, much less the conference. And it'll be interesting to see how Northwest Nazarene expects to try and limit those two and their effectiveness and try and bring out the talent of a lot of the other players on the roster.
Of course, and you know, it's just been a great year so far. Like you mentioned, these two players just really fighting back and forth. Now, who holds down the paint for this team? This year, up until this point, it's been Capri Sims. Came in as a freshman last year, was real good up on the boards, and she has not stopped with that, averaging 9 rebounds herself this year. We love to see the the paint preference and see that really just start to roll, honestly. You want to talk about wintertime, it's a snowball rolling. That's what it is. If the Wildcats are able to defend the painted area, they're able to keep the interior all what they need it to be, then this is a team that's able to dominate. That's just that. Gabriel, do you have any notes for yourself as we come into this matchup?
I'm looking for this Wildcats to be limiting their turnovers because you take a look at this Nighthawks team, and they are currently leading the GNAC in steals per game, and that's a dangerous thing, especially with the turnover margin that the Central Wildcats have currently in the negatives. So I'm really looking for them to hold onto that ball and keep their ball security high and to limit turnovers because we know Northwest Nazarene can pounce on that anytime.
That we do. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and throw it off, and when we come back, we're going to have action for you. Central Washington takes on the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. We'll be back in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg and your Central Washington University Athletics live stream. 88-1 the Berg. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening and watching the beginning presentations of Central Washington University taking on Northwest Nazarene. Ladies and gentlemen, your Wildcats are undefeated to this point in the season. It has just been great to watch this team make their way throughout the year. 6-0 as it currently stands. They come in to face the Nighthawks today, and they've got quite the game on the docket. Folks, if you are looking for hard-hitting basketball, I have a feeling we're going to find it all night here tonight. These are two teams that are defensively just able to get everything out there on the court. Whether it be a block, whether it be a steal, whether it be an open ball that you just need to have you have to out-hustle your opponent for, you're going to find it with both of these two teams. They're not going to let you fall off the grindstone. With that, let's go ahead and continue to talk about what you need to know coming into this game. We talked about Sunny Huerta, Asher Kai, Capri Sims, all of the Central Washington team. Let's tell you what you need to look at for Northwest Nazarene. The number one name that you need to hear, folks, is Kendall Clark. On the season, she's averaging 15 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist with a steal. Last game, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist. Someone who definitely knows how to be scrappy, get those boards, get the points where it's needed. Above that, we've got another name for Northwest Nazarene, that being Madeline Gabers. She's averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on the year with 2 steals of her own. And let me tell you, that 2-steal number is not unique with this Northwest Nazarene team. This is a whole team full of people who know how to pick the ball out of their opponent. You watched our Thursday game if you did watch our men's game on Thursday, you saw what we were highlighting from both Jordan Clark and Kevin Holden, both of which just great perimeter presences. That's what the Wildcats are going to need tonight if they want to win this game. They're going to need to keep Northwest Nazarene not only away from the perimeter, but they need to keep them away from any open looks. If you give Northwest Nazarene a chance to outwork you with open looks, that's where you're going to fall in this matchup if you're the Wildcats. Now, for Northwest Nazarene, here's the big deal. They got to secure the perimeter. We can talk about securing open shots all we want, but the perimeter are where the Wildcats have lived this year. They have been shooting the best in the GNAC. They are, like you mentioned earlier, Michael, one of the better teams in the country when they're firing on all cylinders. And if that's what it all looks like today, then I don't feel so great for the Nighthawks' chances. Above that, they got to keep playing this elite defense. We talked about the steal numbers. We can talk about that all we want. If they're not going to be able to do it today and the first time that we see GNAC action for these two teams coming off of last year, then I don't know what you're going to end up seeing for the Nighthawks. The last bit, they got to hold down the interior. On offense, they're a team that's going to be able to work against a size difference or against a smaller opponent, and we got to make sure Central is able to hold that down. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, the tip is going to go to the Nighthawks. So starting it off is NNU as they move this one around the perimeter, hands this one off forward. Matched up against Asher Kai. Now this one moved out left, and the three-pointer is going to be attempted early. This one is up and off, though, and the rebound goes to Annalie Coronado. Coronado returning to the team after her first year with Central last year. She was great from behind the arc. Expect her to keep up on that. As she drives in, she's going to be blocked, and this one will not find its way out of bounds. Instead, Northwest Nazarene making their way down the court. They're going to stop the fast break here, look for a more set offensive approach. Here's the drive, the mid-range shot, and that one is knocked down. That was number 34, Janae Wells of the Nighthawks.
The Wildcats are going to have to try and keep the possession count even. No mistakes on offense, keeping them off the offensive boards on the other side.
And so now here's Asher Kai with it. We talked about how dangerous she can be as she pitches inside to Capri Sims, and a jump ball is called. Great defensive awareness. I believe that once again was Janae Wells forcing the jump ball. So great defensive awareness for the Nighthawks here. That's exactly what we were talking about right before this broadcast started. If they want to win this game, they've got to be aggressive down there.
I know, a lot of energy so far from the Nighthawks to start this off on both sides of the floor, and why they have the first lead.
And so Annalie Coronado going to toss that one into Kai. A foul is going to be called on the court, and it appears as though the Nighthawks will pick up their first foul of the night.
It looks like it was just an out-of-bounds mark, and they were fixing the shot clock. So no foul, but it'll still be Wildcats possession 16 on the shot clock.
So Coronado now getting ready to inbound it for the Cats. She's got Asher Kai right in front of her. This one's going to find its way to the ground, and another jump ball will be called.
And that won't go into the stat sheet as a steal, but it might as well have been for the Nighthawks. 2 jump balls, great inbounds defense, and they have a chance to extend this early lead if they can get it going on the offensive side.
So here's Wells now with it. She'll bring it up for the Nighthawks. Working against Coronado, she moves it out left. Once more, it'll go that direction, and they send it right back to the top. With the ball now is Kendall Clark as she moves it out right on the perimeter. Now for the inside. This one's going to get stolen away, though, and the Wildcats regain possession. Here's Coronado now up to Asher Kai. Kai driving for the inside. She's going to move it back, she moves it back to Blodgett. Blodgett now over for Huerta. Now Huerta, she's maneuvering the perimeter here, trying to find someone. She's got Blodgett. Blodgett now over to Coronado. Coronado in that left side corner. She's going to drive. And now she's going to lose it. This one knocked away from her on the inside, and the Nighthawks regain possession of the basketball.
Still no perimeter shots from the Wildcats and 2 turnovers to show for it.
Well,
on both sides of the court now.
Yeah, great interior presence being shown off by both of these two teams as Wells brings it up for the Nighthawks. She's going to hand this one off on the right side. Now moving it over to the left. Now it is with Clark as she moves it over. And this one finds its way behind the half-court line before they pick it back up. Now almost in a fast break sort of deal. And it appears as though a call will be issued on the court.
Unfortunate events for the Wildcats. It looked like they were going to get a turnover, but it kind of turned into a broken play and led to not quite an open look, but a call that did not go their way, and that'll send Madeline Gabers to the line for Northwest Nazarene.
And so Kira Marsh going to enter the game, as well as Aaliyah Finch for the Wildcats. Here's the first free throw put up, and it is knocked down.
Marsh and Finch have been 2 of the players that have come off the bench the most for the Wildcats. Expect them to both kind of interchange between the wing and the post throughout the game.
And the second free throw shot is up and good, so both looks are going to be converted on from the charity stripe. 6-4 your score. Central trails by 2. Marsh with it in the corner. She'll get it over to Huerta. Huerta now back to Marsh. Marsh last year showing off how good of a three-point shooter she can be. She gets it to Kai, and Kai is unable to knock on that one. This one finds its way out of bounds, and the Wildcats will lose possession.
You can tell the Nighthawks have prepared very well for this Wildcats offense, constantly keeping their defense on the shooter's side and not letting them get any kind of an easy look, forcing them to the interior where they have been dominating so far. And I expect this game plan to keep up as long as it keeps working.
So Gabers to Wells to start off the drive for Northwest Nazarene. Now it's moved inside by Clark to Clark. And it's going to be stripped away. Shelby Blodgett doing a great job. And just like that, Huerta bringing it up for the Cats. She's going to move it out left for Blodgett. Blodgett towards the top of the key. She goes to Kai. Asher Kai not going to use the screen. Well, maybe a second too late, but she does, in fact, use it. The layup is up and off. Rebound goes to Blodgett, and she's fouled as she attempts the shot.
Blodgett continues that energy, getting her second steal of the game, coming back, getting that offensive board, and is going to the line now to try and get some more, try and even out the score. And so far in the season, Blodgett has gone perfect from the free throw line, but has not made many visits.
Couple of substitutions for the Nighthawks here as Blodgett gets ready to put up the first of her shots.
And this is how you really know that basketball action is back here in Ellensburg, as the entire gymnasium goes quiet.
Yeah, you could really hear a pin drop as Blodgett knocks down the first of 2.
You could have a conversation across the pavilion right now if you wanted to with how silent it gets.
You really could. As now Blodgett getting ready for the second one. She'll put it up and knock it down. 6-6 your score. They even teal. Now bringing it up is the Nighthawks. Coming up towards the top of the key. They move it out right. Now on the drive and stopping for a moment. It's going to be sister to sister on that one. Now driving against Finch, and that one is up and off. Rebound goes to Blodgett. She's been everywhere tonight as now Huerta bringing it up. Coming up that right side, she's going to swing back towards the left, gets it over to Asher Kai. Kai on the drive, nice bounce pass into Finch, but she's unable to convert.
Expect to see Kai get some more space throughout the game as she continues to drive well and get good looks.
Now moved out left. Once more, they'll go that direction. Towards the top. What do the Nighthawks have in store here? Now to the corner once more for Clark. Clark on the drive. A couple of hands hit the ball, but she's going to fight through contact and get a couple on the board. Now here's Asher Kai on the drive. Fast break, and she's unable to convert on the layup. A foul will be called.
And that one's going to be against Finch. Yeah, she was a little bit too out of control going up for the board right there. And a lot of contact was made. So that'll be the second against the Wildcats. Neither team really in any foul trouble here in the first quarter, as there's been a total of 3 fouls called. And then subbing in for the game right now
is Riley Leishman.
Riley Leishman, who has only not played in every game so far this season, but it looks like she's going to get a little bit of extended minutes off the bench here for the Wildcats, giving them just any kind of energy they can in what has been a close fight so far.
And now here come the Nighthawks on the drive. Moves this one out right for Clark. Clark now out left once more. And now towards the inside, they'll call a foul. This one looks like it'll go against Blodgett.
Yep, that'll be against Blodgett, her first, Wildcats third, and just as I may have jinxed myself a little bit, now the Wildcats are looking a bit closer to forcing their opponent into the bonus.
And so Blodgett comes out of the game. In exchange, it'll be Jordy DeMott coming in. The first time seeing her in GNAC action for the Wildcats, as this ball will find its way out of bounds, but they'll call a foul. This one against Huerta, I believe. And it'll be a push.
And that'll be the fourth now against the Wildcats. Now Northwest Nazarene is essentially in the bonus for the rest of the first quarter.
Yeah.
And Huerta will come out. Coronado will sub back in. So a very interesting, this might be the first time this season they've had this collection of a 5 on the court right now. Let's see how the Wildcats can play around that.
5 minutes and 5 seconds remain in this matchup as now Northwest Nazarene looks to toss it in. Clark will be the recipient. Now driving, she puts up the shot and she gets it to go. So Leishman unable to keep her controlled on that one.
Clark used every bit of that height advantage right there, just taking an easy post move to get her second point of the game.
And now Coronado for the Cats. She's going to drive towards that left side, looking for somebody. And instead, she's going to drive herself a little bit closer. Now tossing to the outside for Kira Marsh. Marsh going to lose the ball for just a moment as now she drives forward. She's got 7 seconds to work with, and she'll pass into a steal. Clark brings that one in. And the Nighthawks regain possession. Now Clark with it, driving against Coronado. She gets stopped. Great defense from Coronado there. Now looking for the inside again, and they're going to call a foul on that one. Wow.
And I think all of a sudden the refs have been calling this a little bit less physical, as that one will go against DeMott, her first, but that'll be the 5th against the Wildcats, which will give Northwest Nazarene a bonus as a timeout is taken on the floor.
Well, they'll take one on the court. We're going to take one too. Be back in just about 30 seconds here on 88.1 The Berg and your Central Washington University Athletics live stream. And 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the Central Washington University Athletics live stream. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Gildersleeve alongside Michael Jones here as we detail for you the events of CWU versus Northwest Nazarene, the first bit of GNAC action for your Wildcat women's team as this year moves forward. And a little bit of foul trouble right now as they've committed 5 in the first 5 minutes and about 40 seconds of action. We've got 4:20 remaining in the first quarter of action between these two teams. And at the line right now for Northwest Nazarene is Loy Wade as she knocks down the first one.
Wade, who has shot perfect from the free throw line so far this season, so expect her to somehow find a way to go 2 for 2 right here at this visit.
And she's going to miss that one. So the first miss of the season from the charity stripe for her. And here come the Cats. Annalie Coronado with ball in hand, moves it over to Asher Kai. Kai now moving out right, goes the opposite direction from the screen. She's going to shoot it out to Coronado. Coronado now up and over, and she's going to find DeMott. DeMott to Kai, who tries one but is unable to convert from beyond the arc. Now here's Northwest Nazarene moving it out to the left side. They drive for the interior, but they're unable to get a look, so they move it up. There's the shot, and a great moving score by Chloe DeHario.
And right now the Nighthawks have opened up a bit of a lead here now, up 13-6 with 3.5 to go.
And now here's Coronado moving out left. She's going to find Asher Kai. Kai now doesn't want to use the screen. Instead, she's going to drive for the interior, send it out to the right side corner, and Annalie Coronado knocks one down.
I know we mentioned Coronado, a good three-point shooter last season, has been a bit slow through these first 6 games, but knocks one down right there, the first 3 of the game for the Wildcats.
And you have to wonder how much of that is just playing in the Nicholson Pavilion as a wide open look is given up by the Cats. That's Loy Wade putting her next couple of points on the board. Excuse me, that was Madeline Gabers. Has now Annalie Coronado coming up. She's going to pass this one forward, and it's going to find its way into the corner once more. Now for the inside, this ball is going to be lost, and the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks showing off their ability to get those steals. Now for the inside, another good opportunity, but Clark will not make it. Rebound going to go to the Wildcats and DeMott. And Coronado brings it up once more. Heading for the right side, just going to pass it to the corner. Now heading back out left is Marsh. Marsh hands it off to Asher Kai. Kai on the drive, mid-range shot, she's off. And it has not been a great shooting night for Asher Kai as whistles blow on the other end.
Way to go to the ground right there for Riley Leishman, as she may have just saved the possession for the Wildcats, and it will, as we now have some substitutions, bringing a couple of the starters back in for the Wildcats. Huerta and Blodgett coming in for Leishman and Marsh.
And the Wildcats retain possession of the basketball through the call, so Huerta getting ready as the inbounder now. Huerta going to go over to Blodgett. Blodgett now back out for Coronado, who loses it for a moment, but a foul will be called against her defender, Kate Clark.
As now that gives 3 fouls to the Nighthawks. May not quite hit bonus level, but the Wildcats could be looking at a couple free throws by the end of the quarter.
And now Blodgett, the inbounder, she gets ready, and she'll pass it forward to Coronado. Annalie Coronado moving it out left for Huerta. Huerta now going up and over. She finds Coronado, and a blocking foul is called. So the Wildcats doing a great job drawing fouls on the interior right now.
Especially as that one looks like it'll go against Loy Wade. That's her second now. And as one of the key post players for the Nighthawks, it is not a good look for her to already have 2 fouls.
Yeah, only 2 minutes and 19 seconds remain in this first quarter of action, so not a time to get yourself into foul trouble. As this one's going to be moved over to Coronado. Coronado on the outside. She scans and finds Huerta. Huerta now moving back left. And another foul will be called. And just like that.
That should send Huerta to the line shooting 2 now as the 5th foul against the Nighthawks. That one against Janae Wells.
Yeah, and 3 fouls on this drive alone by the Wildcats, doing a great job.
Both teams have managed to speed run, getting to the bonus at different points in this quarter, and now any foul for the rest of this 2 minutes will lead to free throws for both teams.
More of a small ball sort of setup as Malia Smith comes in the game for Jordy DeMott.
And they've liked that look so far this season, having Blodgett play a bit more of the 5, as Huerta will miss the first free throw, but she has a second one coming up.
This one, a chance to cut the lead down to 5 for the Nighthawks. Huerta goes for it and knocks it down. 15-10 your score. Central trails by 5. Wells going to toss it out left. And now moving it forward are the Nighthawks, trying to drive against Sunny Huerta. Taking the step back here and passing up top. Now for the inside. Would have been a good look if they were able to bring it in immediately. And Asher Kai with a block. She's going to move it over to Huerta to start off the drive. Now in transition. Here's Huerta. She stops for a moment, swings it over to Kai. Kai now for the inside. Blodgett, the opportunity, and she knocks it down.
Blodgett, the leading scorer in the game so far, 6 points. Not been known as a high-scoring player so far this season, but is giving the Wildcats exactly what they need.
And so, moving it around are the Nighthawks. Here's Clark now outright, and they go for the inside once more as Kai almost just got a steal, but a foul is going to be called, and it'll be 2 shots to the Nighthawks.
Unfortunate for Kai right there. Only her first, but she made a great play knocking the ball out of control, but then went back for seconds, and that's where the foul occurred. So that should send the Nighthawks to the line as Kai will sub out with after her first foul in for Kiera Marsh.
And so, yeah, shooting these free throws will be Danica Starr. She's got a chance to push the lead for Northwest Nazarene up to 17 with 2 makes. Or excuse me, up to 5 with 2 makes. 17 would be the total number.
Starr, a 50% free throw shooter. Nighthawks 80% as a team as she knocks down her first. 16-12 is the score now. 1.5 minutes to go in the first.
And so now waiting the second shot. Starr gets ready. Here's the shot. And that one is off. Rebound going to go to the Wildcats. Coronado will bring that one in. And now here she comes up the right side. She's going to swing this one out, or excuse me, it looked like she was going to swing it out left. Instead, chooses Huerta on the right side. Sunny Huerta now on the drive. She moves it back out to Kira Marsh. Marsh now trying to find separation, but instead she swings it over to Huerta. Huerta from the top of the key, drives forward. Mid-range shot is off. Rebound going to go to Wells.
Not a high percentage look right there for the Wildcats, but they're looking for anything they can.
And now this ball is lost again. Malia Smith comes up with it. And on the fast break, she tosses it up for Coronado. Coronado now on the drive. Doesn't have the look she wants. Instead, Smith's got a 3-ball. This one is off the back iron, and rebound will go to the Nighthawks. Bringing it up is Wells now. Coming up that right side, matched up with Kira Marsh. She's going to swing it into the corner. Now back up top. The Nighthawks looking for something. Here's a free throw line shot, and that one is knocked down by Riley Edelson. Oh, Edelson. Interesting.
But only 2 seconds between the game and shot clock, so the Wildcats may try and slow this down for the last look of the quarter.
And so Coronado hands off to Smith. Smith now moves out right with it. Has Huerta on her left. Here's Blodgett bringing up the screen. She's going to use the screen from Blodgett. Now go up and over to Blodgett, and it's a great look and an easy opportunity.
Blodgett getting another score off the pick and roll. That has been working very well for the Wildcats in the first.
And so Wells now, the de facto playmaker for Northwest Nazarene, is going to miss the near half-court shot as the first quarter draws to a close. 18-14, your current score, ladies and gentlemen. What a matchup it's been up into this point as hey, let me tell you, I am just excited to be able to watch these two teams operate in the standing that they both do. I mean, listen, you want to talk about Central Washington, of course, that's the team that we love to watch. We love to bring that to you here. But Northwest Nazarene has come in and they've played great defense. They've really challenged the Wildcats. Gabriel, I want to ask, what did you see throughout that first quarter, and what do you think the Wildcats can do better on in order to have the second go a little bit more their way?
I mentioned it in pregame, but the turnovers. Northwest Nazarene has continued to force steals. They got a block early on in the game, and that's just been hurting Central Washington's possessions. The Wildcats are struggling to get the open looks because the defense that Northwest Nazarene is playing is rock solid. So what I want to see from the Wildcats in the second quarter is to play more fundamental basketball, make sure you get the looks, get the passing around, and make sure that you can get the open looks for your shots.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, one of the best things that we saw Thursday from the men's side of this basketball program here at CWU was their ability to move the ball. And if Central can really implement that across the board, I feel like this women's team could work a lot better if there was a lot more ball movement. I feel like there's not really a lot of looking for the next open shooter. It's a lot more of how can I get as close to the basket as possible. Now, I do like the way that the Wildcats are running their rotations around the perimeter, getting people open. I just don't think that they've been able to execute at the level that we have known them to, at least for this season if you're looking at the stat sheet. Now, we'll look to see if they're able to really kick that forward and get a little bit more prominent on the perimeter. But whether or not they do, Michael, I have to ask the same question. What did you see in that first quarter from the Cats, and what do you think they can do better on?
I mean, so far this season, it's been pretty clear that the Wildcats have played with the mentality of winning or losing by the three. And as we talked about, leading the conference in the three-point percentage, they've won by the three. But so far today, they have just not been able to get anything going from deep outside of a single Coronado shot. So it'll be interesting to see if they try and switch their game plan up, attack that inside with Blodgett, who currently leads the game with 8 points, or if they just try and fight through it, get their open looks with Kai and Huerta, and try and find some kind of fire under them on the offensive side.
Well, we are back to it here on the court as immediately Northwest Nazarene going to force a steal. That's number 11, Shaughnessy Davis with that one.
As a close call here on the sideline nearest to us for the out-of-bounds call, but it will be Nighthawks basketball going the other way.
That it will, as Sadie Clemens gets ready as the inbounder for the Nighthawks. She'll toss this one in into DeHario. And DeHario matched up with Coronado. She'll toss this one over to Clark. Clark now back out. And it's once again Davis with it. She'll take the free throw line shot. This one's off the back iron, and Asher Kai comes down with the rebound. A very interesting player Asher Kai is as she moves this one forward for Malia Smith. Smith now back out Coronado. Coronado wanted the three, doesn't take it, instead drives forward. In that painted area, she finds a wide open Asher Kai who's unable to get the shot off in time. Instead, they move it out for Smith from the corner. Up, and that one is off. No rebound. It'll find its way out of bounds, and the Nighthawks get ready once more.
Unfortunately, as Coronado had a very nice drive right there and could have gotten either an open look or a better pass, but it looks like the Wildcats just hesitated and it led to a less than ideal shot, and Northwest Nazarene continuing their 4-point lead.
So now Dahario, once again at the top of the key. She's going to toss this one inside. Shot is put up by Davis, and it is off, but the whistles will blow, and free throws are on the line.
That one will be the second against Asher Kai.
And a substitution as Kira Marsh comes in the game in exchange for Asher Kai.
That will be interesting to see how the Wildcats play around that on the offensive side. Asher Kai, one of their best catalysts, getting to the inside but still maintaining that perimeter presence. Right now it'll be a bit of a dichotomy between their posts and guards now, as the first free throw is knocked down
by Davis.
That looks like it is...
Or excuse me.
Sadie Clemens.
No, Sadie Clemens.
That'll be the first time we've called her name so far, as she lines up for a second to try and extend this lead out to 6.
And she's going to put that second one up and miss. So the Nicholson Pavilion continues to hold its aura, if you will, in this fact that opposing teams do not shoot free throws well here. As this one's going to be put up from the corner. A great look for Malia Smith. She's just unable to convert as the Nighthawks bring it up. Now in transition. Shots put up and shot is off. Rebound Coronado as the Wildcat guards continue to rebound well. This one tossed up for Smith. Smith, she's got Sims in front of her. She'll find her. Sims working against the double team here. Keeping it in her hand. She passes it out to Coronado. Coronado now on the spin move. She'll shoot it out to the corner. Marsh wanted it. Doesn't take it. Gets it to Sims. In contact. She's unable to convert.
That was probably one of the best overall offensive sequences for the Wildcats and just couldn't get the shot to fall, unfortunately.
And so it's Dahario with the ball in hand. She's matched up with Kira Marsh here on the outside. Moves it out left for Davis. Davis now going to go over. Back to Dahario. And now passes across. Here's the shot. That one is off. Once again attempted by Shaughnessy Davis. Ball finds its way out of bounds, and the Wildcats will retain possession.
As Huerta did a good job right there, maintaining her ground to cause the defensive contact.
And a foul is called, a push.
Yep, and that will go against Chloe Daharo. Her first and the first in the quarter for the Nighthawks. As we have 8 minutes to go, looks like the Nighthawks are going to go into a bit of a full court press now.
And so Sims, the inbounder, tosses it up for Huerta. Huerta now up and over to Sims. Sims going to bring it up, send it over to Marsh. Wide open shot, and she gets it to go. Cuts the separation to 3. Now bringing it up are the Nighthawks once more. These two teams playing in transition. Here's the shot, and there's the make. Number 23, Madeline Gabers, knocking it down. And looked like a steal for a moment. Ball finds its way out of bounds. Good effort by Daharo. And it will be the Wildcats inbounding once more. Capri Sims with the duties.
The Nighthawks really upped the pressure coming out of that last foul. And Wildcats looking to try and crack this press once more.
Up and over to Coronado goes the inbound. As now she's going to move out left with it. She's going to hand this one off, and it's Sunny Huerta. Huerta now up and over to Sims. Sims now is going to face some contact as she passes out. Coronado to Huerta. Huerta on the drive, steps back, takes the shot, makes the shot. Sunny Huerta throwing 2 on the board.
She's up to 3 now. Her first made field goal of the game, and you hope that'll start bringing this offensive intensity out.
And now Gabers. She's going to go up and over to Clark for the free throw line shot. That one is off. Rebound goes to Huerta as she brings it up that left side. A little bit quicker than her defender here as she drives forward. Shoots it to the corner. Malia Smith knocks down the 3, and the Wildcats with a little bit of instant offense on that one. 1 point separates these two teams as here's the drive. Daharo passes to Clark, and the ball is knocked out of bounds. Wildcats retain possession, and what a drive it has been over the last few possessions for the Cats.
And it looks like the Wildcats going to shift a bit of their offensive look now with Blodgett subbing in for Coronado.
They're definitely doing a good job of moving players in and out. It is interesting how it seems almost like a positionless basketball team here tonight. As here's Huerta, she'll bring it up for the Cats as the primary ball handler we know her as. She's going to hand it off to Blodgett. Blodgett now moving out right. She finds Smith. Malia Smith now. She's going to go out for Kira Marsh. Marsh working against Wells. She moves this one over. And to the inside, the ball goes. Blodgett wanted it. It'll find its way out of bounds. I believe that one off of Kate Clark.
So the Wildcats ball, only 12 seconds on the shot clock, so expect them to try and get it out to the perimeter and then a quick attack to get an open look right now and possibly take the lead if they're able to convert.
The inbounder is Smith. Smith now goes up and over to Huerta. Huerta to the corner with Smith once more. Up and over for Sims. They're going to work on the inside, and Capri Sims gets it to go. give the Wildcats their first lead of the night. 23-22 the score. As now bringing it up are the Nighthawks. Moved over to Clark. Clark back out towards the top of the key. On the drive now, stops towards the free throw line. Looking for someone on the exterior. She finds Wells. Wells now driving against Marsh. Loses it for a moment, and the Wildcats fall on it. It's picked up by Marsh. So now Sunny Huerta bringing it up for the Cats. In transition, it's Marsh with the ball in hand. No one out left. She's got Sims out right. Tosses it over to Capri Sims, and she goes on the drive. Now for Marsh in the corner. She comes in, puts up the shot. This one is off. Rebound. Looked like it was going to Blodgett. Maybe an early jump ball call, but the jump ball is called for.
Well, in a situation like that, that is just as good as a rebound right there. As with a jump ball, you either get the ball back or set up yourself to get the ball back later on.
And it's Aaliyah Finch brought in the game for Capri Sims, as the Wildcats will not retain possession on the jump ball. And bringing it up will be Wells for the Nighthawks. She works against Kira Marsh here. Moving out right towards the top of the key. Moving out left, takes a long mid-range shot. That one is off, and the rebound goes to Malia Smith. A lot of almost three balls attempted tonight by the Nighthawks, as now moving in is Finch. Tries to create separation, and these Wildcat post players doing a great job of just really dominating the paint.
And just like that, the big run leads to a timeout taken by Northwest Nazarene, trying to get their composure, as the Wildcats have not only taken their first lead of the game, but now extended it to 3 points, 25-22, about halfway through the second quarter.
We'll see if they're able to remain hot coming out of the break. Folks, we'll send it off and be back in just about 30 seconds here on 88.1 The Berg and your Central Washington Athletics live stream. And we are back here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream. You are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve alongside one Michael Jones. Michael, it's been great to call these women's games for you, or with you, for the last couple of years. What can you tell me about this team and what we've seen tonight as opposed to the game plan that we saw implemented over that last stretch?
I think so far, especially on this latest run the Wildcats have been on, they've done a great job in finding the lineup that works. Finding the lineup that targets their mistakes that Northwest Nazarene has been making the best, and they've taken a 3-point lead because of it.
Now here's Clark with it. She's going to move it to the top of the key. Now over for Wells. Wells looks like she wants Clark. Instead, it's going to take a couple of spots to get there. Number 13 taking a long three ball. This one is off. That one attempted by Sadie Clemens, as the rebound will go to Finch. And here comes Sunny Huerta, bringing it up for the Cats. The second leading scorer in the GNAC moves it to Coronado. Coronado to the inside with Blodgett. Blodgett back out. Finch for Marsh for three. Knocks it down. Kira Marsh showing that pick and pop style that we talked about. What a great roll for the Wildcats here. They lead it by 6. As here's Clemens with it. She's going to move it out left, and a foul will be called. It'll be a reach against Coronado.
That will be her first of the game. Second for the Wildcats here in quarter number 2, and a substitution will be made for the Nighthawks, as Clemens will come out and Starr will come in, going to a bit of a bigger lineup now for the Nighthawks.
It'll be Gabers, the inbounder. She tosses it up for Wells. Wells now moving out right. She's been defended by Marsh all night. Now back out a couple of times. Here's Clark with it, matched up with Huerta. She goes up and over. And now it comes right back to her. Clark on the pick and pop three. This one's off. Rebound goes to Huerta, who tosses it off of her defender, gets it out of bounds, and gets possession for the Cats. Oh, no. Looks like it did go off the foot.
It off her defender perfectly, but unfortunately was just a little bit too close, and it bounced right back off her and out of bounds.
So an unfortunate look there, but the Wildcats still showing great hustle on the court tonight. You got to love that. Now the inbounder is going to be Starr. This one finds its way out of bounds. Now it might be Starr. That one originally inbounded by Gabers.
And it looks like that was initially called Wildcats ball, but after a quick discussion, it will be instead off of the Wildcats, and it'll maintain Nighthawks possession here on the near sideline.
So Gabers will inbound over to Wells. Wells Bringing it up for the Nighthawks here. Just going to move this one over to Brugman. Brugman back to her on the handoff. She moves towards the top of the key and shoots it over to Starr. Starr now, long mid-range shot. That one is off. Rebound goes to Finch. Finch doing a great job grabbing these rebounds as she moves it over to Huerta to start off the drive. Over to Coronado. They got 4 minutes to work with here in the first half of action as this one's tossed up and over to Blodgett. Blodgett now to the outside with Coronado. Coronado to Marsh. Marsh over to Finch, and a foul's going to be called. That one against Kate Clark, it appeared.
I mean, I think anybody from here to, well, Nampa, Idaho, would be able to make that call right there against number 4, Kate Clark, her second. And yet another important player for Northwest Nazarene picking up their second foul. We wonder if that may come into effect later on in the game.
And so now they get ready, and you bring out one Clark, you bring the other one in. Kendall Clark enters the game for Northwest Nazarene. So Kira Marsh, the inbounder for the Cats here. We'll see what the Wildcats have on the docket as they get ready to try and extend this lead even further. They currently lead it by 6. Blodgett on the outside moves it to Coronado. Coronado now scrolling out right. She's going to go inside to Blodgett. Blodgett now to the outside with Marsh for another 3. This one is off the back iron. Rebound going to go to DeHaro. DeHaro now up and over. Here's Starr. Starr trying to find the next look. Here's the 3 from outside. DeHaro can't hit. Rebound goes to Finch. Finch now over to Huerta. Huerta driving up that left side. And she's looking for somebody. She finds Coronado wide open under the basket, and that's another 2. Push that lead to 8, why don't you?
And that's what Coronado needs to do. She has been finding good matchups down low, but just hasn't been attacking them. Gets 2 points right there.
Clark to DeHaro. DeHaro now going to lose it, or at least pass it for a second, get it back, and then move it over. And it is Gabers tossing to the top for Starr for a 3-ball. This one is off. Rebound goes to Clark, it appeared, and a foul will be called.
Bit too much contact right there. There was a few defenders, so we'll see. It looks like they'll be calling it against Coronado. Her second, third against the Wildcats with just under 3 to play in the second quarter.
And so coming in is Malia Smith in the place of Annalie Coronado. Capri Sims also checking in the game for Aaliyah Finch.
Finch did a great job right there in her substitution to just constantly be dominating the boards. Let's see if Sims can carry that momentum for the Wildcats.
And so the Nighthawks now looking to go up and over. They're going to go straight to the inside for Starr. She hits the reverse, and that was just about as good as you could have played it if you are Danica Starr. Now here on the other end, here's Malia Smith. Smith now over to Blodgett. Wide open 3. Shelby Blodgett down and pushes the lead out to 9 for the Wildcats. They'll take a timeout. We'll take one too. Be back in just about a minute here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream. And we'll cut in the middle of the break here as we are ready to restart action from Nicholson Pavilion. Starr going to attempt for the inside. Capri Sims showing off some hustle to try and keep it fair, but it will find its way out of bounds. The Nighthawks now with another attempt at scoring here. They trail by 9 with just over 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Going to toss this one in. How will they approach this drive? Puts up the shot. That one is off. Rebound goes to Kendall Clark, and Shelby Blodgett rips it right out of her hands. Now here's Huerta. Moves it up to Smith. Smith now on that right side. Going to the left side corner for Marsh. Marsh now over to Huerta. Huerta takes the screen from Blodgett and heads out right. Still on the perimeter, she finds Capri Sims. Sims to the inside. Wants it for Blodgett, but the contact from Clark is just enough to keep her away from it.
As that will be Nighthawks ball going the other way as Blodgett just barely grazed the ball, but enough to knock it out of bounds. And the Wildcats still holding the largest lead of the game for either team, 9 points, as we are in the 2-minute warning of the second quarter.
And here's Davis. She's going to move it over to Clark. Clark now across the court. Looked like they wanted the three. Won't take it. Instead takes the close shot. That one's off. Rebound Sims, and the Wildcats have it again. We talked about wasted possessions and how neither team can afford them at the beginning of the game. We're starting to see that not only on the scoreboard, but in person. Here's Marsh for three again. That one is a little bit undershot. Rebound goes to Kendall Clark, and she tosses this one up to DeHaro. DeHaro now to the corner, and not going to take the shot. Instead, they'll go across to DeHaro once more. She takes the long mid-range. That one is off. And it's going to be kept alive by Northwest Nazarene. Clark doing a good job keeping it in bounds as she tosses it back over for Davis. Davis on the outside, looking throughout her options. They're going to toss it for the inside, and Clark in the final seconds of that drive going to be able to get it to go. Just over a minute, 10 seconds left in this first half of action. Here's Huerta working against DeHaro. She's going to toss it out left for Marsh. Marsh now back out Blodgett. Blodgett to Smith. Malia Smith takes the screen from Blodgett, uses it, and heads out right. Now to Sims, wide open three. She'll take it. That one's off. Gets her own rebound. And she's not going to be able to make points come from it. So a good hustle exhibition there as the Wildcats get the ball back. Blodgett's going to be blocked. And the Nighthawks with possession. DeHaro up to Davis. Davis through contact. Misses. Second chance is off. Rebound Blodgett. Shelby Blodgett is everywhere for the Cats tonight, as now here's Sunny Huerta coming up that left side. She's going to move out right with it now. Now to Sims. Capri Sims, inside opportunity again, and she gets it to go. 35-26 your score, a 9-point lead for the Cats. As now a three ball put up on the other end. They're trying to answer back fast. They're unable to do so, and the Wildcats have it. Now here's Huerta coming up the right side. She's got only Nighthawks in her face as she tosses it to the outside. Blodgett. She's going to move it to Smith. Smith for three. That one is off. Rebound to the Cats, but it's not going to matter. Your final score for the first half of action will be 35-26. Central leads it by 9. 15 minutes until we restart action, but we'll be back in just a little bit as we get ready to detail for you the events of what happened in that first half of action. Folks, don't go too far. Don't leave your seats, and really just stay ready, because we're going to do so ourselves, and we're going to be back in just about 5 to 7 minutes as we get ready to bring to you our halftime report. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. 88 won the Berg, your Music Central, as well as the Central Washington University Athletics live stream. Welcome back, everybody. Ryan Gildersleeve, Michael Jones, Gabriel's here with us today on Third Seat. Folks, we've got a full crew as we get ready to detail for you what happened throughout the first half of this matchup. Folks, we've seen some great basketball tonight, as we were just discussing before hopping on for you guys. 35-26, your current score. The Wildcats lead it by 9. And, hey, when we come into the second half, no one knows what these two teams are exactly going to look like. But we know a little bit of what we've seen up until this point. Of course, if you're looking at these two teams and you're trying to figure out who is leading who, I think it's fairly obvious for the Nighthawks side. Kendall Clark has really been leading them, not only in her scoring, but also just in presence around the court. If you're looking towards the Wildcats, hey, it's been anyone's game, really. I feel like the biggest presence that we've seen tonight has been from the post. I think that both Aaliyah Finch and Capri Sims are playing incredible defense, also bringing in boards at a good rate. But above that, something interesting is it's almost like all of the Wildcats bringing in boards at a good rate. We're seeing the guards get in there, get their boards themselves. Really, just an impressive night of basketball for both of these two teams. Gabriel, I've got to ask, what did you see throughout that first half?
Honestly, it was a tale of two quarters. First quarter, Northwest Nazarene, they dominated the paint. They secured the perimeter like they were planning on doing coming to this game. But then the second quarter rolled around, and Shelby Blodgett started staying down low and making her shot.
Right.
And then the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks, they had to go crowd that paint, which left the perimeter open. And it always hasn't been Sonny Huerta and Asher Kai making those shots, but the whole team has really gotten involved, and then they've started hitting their three-pointers, and now that's why the Wildcats are up by 9 points. Yeah,
I mean, you want to talk about three-pointers and what we've seen from there. It has been incredible to see exactly what we've seen from, you mentioned Shelby Blodgett. She's shooting threes at a level that I don't think we've ever seen her shoot threes at. She is putting them up at a good rate. One player that we talked about a little bit before the game has started was Kira Marsh, who has really started off GNAC this year with a whole lot of the same that we saw last year. She's just a great pick-and-pop wing. You get it to her in the corner. You can find, if you're watching this game consistently and you're looking for patterns, you will see Kira Marsh every time that she gets a pass. She's always positioned in that far side corner. That's the way that they like it. They like it because if she gets an opportunity, they know that that is the best corner shooter on this team. Michael, tell me a little bit about what you've seen tonight and what you're excited about coming into the second half.
Well, as you have known me for years now, I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers, and I love using that to kind of unpack what we see on the court. And really, one of the big ones, 19-4. That was the run the Wildcats went on there in the second quarter to really just completely take over this game. They were firing on all cylinders offensively, getting inside shots, getting their deep shots finally starting to fall, and on the defensive side, limiting them to one shot per possession, which is a huge thing for them right now because going into the game, you saw possessions could be a big problem. Northwest Nazarene is great on the offensive boards. They force a lot of turnovers, have a much better margin. And so building those possessions, eventually, that's just going to lead to winning a game. And in the second quarter, they were limiting that. They were taking a better advantage of taking care of the ball and crashing the boards, and it showed. Okay. That's why they were able to go on that run and build it up.
Into it.
And then on the other side of things, we just mentioned Shelby Blodgett having a career-level game as she has 11 points already. Her career high is 13 against this same Northwest Nazarene team back in their last meeting in the pavilion. So all right now, the Wildcats figured out their identity in the second quarter, figured out how they are going to win this game, and I figure both teams are going to make some slight adjustments. Northwest Nazarene, maybe larger ones, seeing as they're now down 9. And we're going to see probably about halfway through the third quarter how the rest of this game is going to go out, and I'm excited to see. I think these are two of the better teams in the GNAC. Of course, the Wildcats, one of the favorites to win it, and Northwest Nazarene picked to finish in the top half, but we could see this as a very, very, very early preview of the GNAC tournament at the end of the season. So both teams are going to come out playing strong, and I don't think this margin of 9 points is going to stay. I think it could get very close for both these teams by the end.
You know, I have to agree, Michael. It's just been one of those nights. You know, this is one of those games where you don't know what's going to come next. Of course, the Wildcats back on the court now, as we can see in front of us, but you just don't know. You don't know who's going to hit what. You don't know even who's going to substitute in for who. Another theme that I've noticed throughout the course of tonight is that when we're seeing these substitutions being made by Coach Richardson, what she's able to do is she's able to bring in somebody for somebody, and it doesn't necessarily need to visibly make sense. You can have a big coming in for a guard. You can have a wing coming in for a guard. Any combination of terms that you want to toss out there, we've seen tonight. The fact of the matter is, it's working. Whether it was the substitutions that we saw with Aaliyah Finch coming in, just immediately becoming a monster on the boards, as we've seen her entire tenure with Central Washington, even going back towards Yakima Valley. It's just been a great exhibition tonight. Everybody doing what they're best at. And some people kind of expanding that skill set, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say Northwest Nazarene, if you look at the roster, they currently have a height advantage. They have 6 players listed as 5'10" or above, where the Wildcats, they have a few, but really Capri Sims and Aaliyah Finch are the only 2 that are in that same category that play a lot of minutes for the Wildcats. So on the boards, on defense, on the interior, that's going to lead to a Northwest Nazarene advantage. But the nice thing is we have a lot of players that play different positions, but are the same size, the same physicality on the defensive side. Annalie Coronado, Asher Kai, and Shelby Blodgett, all 5'9", and all play very different styles of offense. But on the defensive side, they can interchange and force mismatches without giving up that defensive integrity that you want to see. And I think that's what allowed them to start kind of putting their foot on the gas pedal offensively, is that they finally found a lineup that worked offensively without giving up their advantage on the defensive side. And why the Wildcats are going into the second half right now, up 9 and ready to try and extend that lead to open up the GNAC season with a win and keep this undefeated streak going here in the Pavilion.
Of course. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and send it off to a quick break before we come back for the second half of action from the Nicholson Pavilion. Ladies and gentlemen, for 88.1 The Berg and your Central Washington University Athletics live stream. We will be back in just a moment. .88 The Berg, your music central, as well as the Central Washington University Athletics live stream. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve alongside color commentator Michael Jones here as we get ready to detail for you the second half of Wildcat basketball here from the Pavilion. Annalie Coronado going to receive the inbound to start it off. We have the timer clicking. The Wildcats come into this half with a 9-point lead. Coronado working against Wells here. She brings herself inside towards the top of the key. Now inside to Sims. Back out. Here's Huerta looking for an opportunity. She's going to drive, kick it back out for Coronado. Coronado now on the drive. She's going to get stopped by a couple of bigs. Now here's Asher Kai. She's going to kick it to Huerta. The three-point shot contested and won't go for her. This rebound going to go to Kendall Clark. Clark now tossing it up to Kate Clark. As now on the other end, it's number 23, Gabers with it. Working against Shelby Blodgett on the exterior here. She's going to toss inside for Starr. Starr now, and it's looked like an early jump ball call. There was a little bit of a wrestle with it before Capri Sims came away with it, so you can't say that it's a bad call by any means. Maybe just played a little bit differently depending on who's in the stripes there.
Well, still a good play right there for Capri Sims, as while they do not get possession, now the next jump ball they will, and at the very least, that means they could kick off the fourth quarter with possession. So a plus advantage right there for the Wildcats.
And Gabers is going to go up and over to Clark. This one's going to get lost, and it's going to find its way into the hands of Capri Sims. Sims now to Coronado to start it off. She's going to come up that left side. She's got Asher Kai. Kai now looking to swing it out. She's got the screen from Sims. She'll use it, drive with it, and she's unable to convert at the basket. A rough night inside for Asher Kai. As now here's Wells. She's going to toss it over to Clark. Clark on the drive against Blodgett. They're going to call a foul there, and that one is going to result in free throw shots.
Pretty easy call right there against Blodgett. Didn't quite get into a position to even argue a charge. Had her left hand making straight contact with the offensive player, so that'll be the second against Blodgett, first against the Wildcats early in the third quarter, and we'll send one of the Clark sisters, this will be Kate Clark, to the line where she makes her first.
Gonna knock that one down, yeah. Yeah, an interesting situation there. Kate and Kendall Clark both playing for this Northwest Nazarene team. Kate Clark at the line right now shooting, the senior. Her younger sister, Kendall Clark, the sophomore, who leads this team in scoring, as Kate's going to knock down the second one as well. And here's Annalie Coronado getting swarmed up at half court. Great defense by the Nighthawks, and they're going to come away with it. Now here's Wells with it. Coming up that right side. She's going to toss for the corner with Starr, and Sims with an immediate fast breaker. Knocks it out of bounds, and now they're going to have to go to the drawing board and figure out how they want to approach this Wildcat D.
Capri Sims looking like Witherspoon from the Seahawks out there at defense, slapping that ball away. Didn't need to come away with a straight steal, but just letting their defense get back and set up.
As Kira Marsh enters for Annalie Coronado. No, I got to agree. One would have to imagine that passes defended would be an interesting stat here in basketball. As here's Clark on the drive, puts it up and misses it. That was Kendall Clark. Rebound went to Blodgett. Blodgett hands it off to Huerta. Huerta trying to go the opposite direction that you'd expect. It's not going to work, and she's going to drive. Now for Marsh, open three-point opportunity, doesn't want it. Now it's Asher Kai with the ball in hand. She's going to drive out left, going against Clark. And no stop there. She gets it over to Sims. Sims working, gets it over to Kai. Kai open for Marsh. Marsh on the drive. She's going to get it to Sims. Sims now for Huerta. 5 seconds to work with. Huerta, right side. Step back three. Unable to knock it down. Rebound going to go to Starr. And now Danica Starr brings it up, tosses it up for Clark. Clark now, and they're going to call that a jump ball.
And right there we see that great defense from a few possessions ago by Sims pay off, as now what didn't even look like it was going to be a steal, just kind of a good defensive pressure. Now turns into a Wildcats ball.
Not at all where you typically see the jump ball get called. Typically you see it when both players have their arms locked around it. But yeah, that was a very great job by Capri Sims to get possession.
I would say it reminded me of like vines intertwining as their arms with the ball. They're like
right.
But, I mean, either way, the Wildcats will have the ball going the other way now.
Leishman in the game for Blodgett. Here is Huerta on the outside, loses it for a moment. Now moves it out left for Kai. Asher Kai now going to take a step back, use the screen from Sims, and head out right. Gets it to a wide open Sunny Huerta, who cannot convert. Now here's Wells bringing it up. She moves it over to Starr. Starr now to the corner with Clark. Clark on the drive, gets a bunch of hands on it, and that Wildcat defense stays strong. Now here is Asher Kai moving it up for Marsh. Marsh now to Leishman. Leishman over for Huerta. She's going to toss it inside for Capri Sims. Here's the opportunity. That one's off. No second chance opportunity there, and the ball finds its way out of bounds off of Clark. Great hustle defense by the Cats.
Way to go, Capri Sims right there. Didn't quite finish the shot, but rather than trying to just stop the defensive pressure and get back, she decides to keep fighting for it. Didn't get the rebound, but forced a turnover for the Nighthawks, so the Wildcats will maintain possession here with a fresh shot clock.
And Aaliyah Finch enters the game in the place of Capri Sims. Sims earning a much earned spot on the bench for now. Just give her a minute and, let her come back. She's been playing great for the second half as Kai gets fouled going up for the layup.
Kai right now has not been the best game for her as the second leading scorer in the Wildcats with 18 points a game.
Has not yet scored.
Still not even on the board, but she has 2 free throws coming up to try and finally break that and start trying to build towards a more expected performance for her by the end. One notable thing, though, the foul against Kate Clark, her third in the game, which could lead to less minutes for her for the Nighthawks.
Right. And, it just kind of plays into that same old, we like to call it a stereotype, but the smaller guard, really difficult to not commit fouls in that spot, as everyone just kind of tends to go through or over you. And it's really difficult to, stay put in that. As the layup is missed, second chance opportunity is knocked down by Kendall Clark, and the and one try is imminent.
And we see Kendall Clark just using her size down low against the Wildcats, as she always seems to find mismatches, as she just goes straight up, gets the easy offensive board, and the and one putback. So she'll go to the line trying to cut this lead down to 5. And as that foul will be committed by number 24 for the Wildcats, Aaliyah Finch, her second.
And so here's the free throw coming for Clark. Chance to cut the lead down to 5, and she will. And just like that, a couple of substitutions here. Coming into the game for the Nighthawks is Bo Brugman. And it's Sunny Huerta. Ball in hand, coming up the right side. She'll toss it over to Leishman, who gives it right back to her. Huerta now goes up and over for Asher Kai. Kai has a wide open Leishman out left, doesn't want her. Instead, she kicks to the corner. Wide open shot for Marsh, knocks it down. Kira Marsh with her 8th points of the matchup. Now bringing it up is Wells for the Nighthawks. She moves it over to Brugman, almost knocked away. Here's the shot, and they answer back quickly. Madeline Gabers from the outside.
A big shot right there by Gabers. I figured they were going to try and slow it down, get composed, but just knocks down the 3.
And now here's Marsh over to the corner with Asher Kai. Can we get another? We won't. That one is off. Asher Kai's struggles continue on the night as now Wells bringing it up the right end. She's going to head out right with it. A little bit of separation. Misses the mid-range shot off the back iron. A couple of Wildcats collide as they go for the rebound. And Gabers with back-to-back threes. The Wildcats now bringing it up. A real difficult full-court press being implemented by the Nighthawks here. Here's Huerta. Back over left to Kai. Leishman coming for the screen. She's going to use it. Now move back out right. Here's Kira Marsh towards the top of the key. She gives it over to Sunny Huerta. Huerta, she's got Leishman coming in on that left end. She'll use the screen on the opposite end. Mid-range shot, knocks it down. That's why she's the top scorer as Sunny Huerta creates offense. 37-41 your score here. The Cats only leading by 5, and the Nighthawks with a chance to cut that down as little as 1. Now here is Wells. She's going to take almost an identical mid-range shot, but that one is off. And the Wildcats need to get out of each other's hands trying to get these rebounds. They're working against themselves here. As Asher Kai coming up the left end. She's going to drive. She's got Finch in front of her, gets knocked down. A great job of keeping the ball in her hands so that that foul is applicable. And just like that, the Wildcats going to force the first foul of the quarter.
That'll be the second, I believe.
The second foul of the quarter.
That'll also be the third against Loy Wade, as now she may be in a bit of foul trouble for the Nighthawks, as almost a complete line change, as only one player stays, as 4 new ones coming in for Northwest Nazarene.
And the Wildcats with some changes as well. And now your set for the Cats will be Coronado, Sims, Huerta, Kai, and Shelby Blodgett, as now Blodgett with it. Another 3 for her. This one's off. Rebound goes to Sims. Sims off the second chance is off. Now rebound by Blodgett. She'll get fouled going up for it. The Wildcats everywhere in the painted area tonight.
As right there, you just see Blodgett going into the game, we call her, she is the do anything. Right now, she's doing everything for the Wildcats. As a timeout is taken, she'll be shooting free throws when we come back.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, as well as your CW Athletics live stream. .88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. We are back here for what should be the final 5 minutes of action in this third quarter between your Wildcats and the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. 41-37 your current scores. The Cats lead it by 4. Ryan Gildersleeve on play-by-play here tonight, joined by Michael Jones on color commentary. Blodgett gets ready to shoot free throws here with an opportunity to push that Wildcat lead out just a little bit further.
As it looks like there's a little bit of a break and a little bit of friendly banter between the referees and the players right now, as Blodgett will line up to shoot 2.
Blodgett, as she gets ready for this one, has not missed a free throw on the year, and that's not going to change quite yet.
As the Wildcats have extended their lead now to 5 points halfway through the third quarter.
And now a chance to push that total up to 6 points. Blodgett shoots. Blodgett makes it.
And
so
just like that, she's tied her career high set against this same team in this same place earlier this year.
13 points for her here tonight. We'll see if she's able to continue to roll on that, as now this ball almost lost by the Nighthawks. Here's one tossed out to the corner with DeHaro. She's going to move that one. And now on the inside, it's lost, but a wide open three-point try. That one is off by Brugman. And now, a really, really solid defensive try there, but the hand is going to hit. And just like that, a foul called. So a couple of free throws coming for Northwest Nazarene. Both teams tied at 3 fouls committed this quarter.
You can kind of see right there, Capri Sims thought that it was going to be a jump ball or some kind of skirmish for it, so it wasn't quite getting over. All of a sudden has to come over last second and just wasn't in control to make a proper defend, as that'll be her second foul. But the first free throw for Gabers is missed, so only a chance for 1 point now for the Nighthawks in this free throw situation.
And so the second free throw is put up and knocked it down. Madeline Gabers doing a great job here tonight, 14 points to her total. As Annalie Coronado going to toss this one up to Asher Kai. Kai wanted Huerta, instead goes to Coronado, and another foul is drawn by the Cats.
That was just a little bit of an out-of-control defense from Gabers, not something that we have seen a lot this game. That is only her first foul, as the leading scorer tonight for the Nighthawks will be sent to the bench after that foul. She has 14.
Coming into the game is one of the Clark sisters, as well as Danica Starr. Annalie Coronado with the ball now off the inbound. She gives it over to Blodgett. Blodgett to Huerta. Huerta to the open shot, and Huerta freaking drains it.
Right there, Huerta finally waking up a bit. I think that might be her first three-point attempt of the game.
And she knocked that one down in stride, as here's Clark moving it over to Starr. Starr now to the top with DeHaro. DeHaro out left, and they're going to get it back to Clark. Kendall Clark on the drive. She's going to kick that one out for DeHaro, who will draw the foul.
And that'll be the fourth against the Wildcats. Both teams now essentially in the bonus moving forward for the rest of the quarter.
Yeah.
That'll be the second against Huerta. And that will send to the line number 1, Chloe DeHaro, the freshman from nearby Spokane, Washington.
Yeah. As she's going to put up the shot and knock it down. Every player for the Wildcats in the game currently with 2 fouls to their total. An interesting number to keep in mind, as the second one is going to also be knocked down by DeHaro. All righty, and here is Huerta. Moved it over to Kai. Kai now back to Huerta. Huerta putting on the Jets. She moves it to the right side. Coronado now wanted Kai. Doesn't get her originally. Now she does. Asher Kai on the drive, and she's going to have a jump ball called on this one. The struggles on the night continue for the Wildcats' second leading scorer. Kira Marsh will enter the game for Annalie Coronado as the Cats lead it by 6.
The only thing more frustrating than that call is when that is a good call, as well as it was a very clear jump ball, and it'll be the Nighthawks ball going the other way.
Here's Brugman handing it off to DeHaro. DeHaro now working against Marsh. She's going to give it over to Kendall Clark. Clark now moving out right. She's going to toss to the painted area with Brugman, and a foul's going to be called against Blodgett there. Brugman doing a good job to move the hips in time to get the reaching foul brought in. But, yeah, that's an interesting one. You almost think that the hand is grandfathered in when that situation happens. But nonetheless, Shelby Blodgett will come out of the game. In her place will be Riley Leichman.
Yeah, that was a tough call right there, as it wasn't the contact or even, like, the defensive pressure that drew the foul. It was removing that pressure where she finally made contact. That'll be her third, and that will send to the line Beau Brigman, who knocks down the first shot for the Nighthawks.
And so now she gets ready for the second one, a chance to cut this lead down to 4 for the Wildcats. And here's Brugman. Gets ready. Second shot is up. Second shot is missed. Rebound to Capri Sims. Now Huerta brings it up. And they're going to reset the shot clock here.
Which probably helped the Wildcats a lot right there, as it looked like there was going to be a lot more pressure as Nazarene is set up in a full court press still like they have been. But Central has done a fairly decent job at breaking that so far.
So Leishman, the inbounder, is going to get it to Asher Kai as Kai comes up right up the gut. She's going to move it to the corner. Now over for Huerta. Huerta, she's going to move it out right for Marsh. Kira Marsh now inside to Capri Sims. The double immediately to Capri Sims. And now Huerta for three again. Unable to knock that one down. Rebound Brugman, and she tosses it inside. Foul is going to be called against Central.
That'll be against Leishman, who they were saying was a little bit too physical in trying to fight for that rebound. I think the nice thing, though, for the Wildcats is that's a bonus that will send Bregman to the line. No possession even needed for Northwest Nazarene. And with how their offense has been looking, I think a safe chance at 2 is better than a possible 3.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine. There's now a chance to cut the Wildcat lead down to 3 points with 2 makes here. Here's Brugman for the first. She'll make it. And now a second opportunity coming her way.
As it sounds like the Pavilion's doing their best to distract. Not quite at their full capacity, but they still have the same effect as she misses the second, so only 1 point for Northwest Nazarene right there.
Yeah, it turns out to be a smart decision as here's Asher Kai losing it and a foul gets called.
And that'll send Kai right to the free throw line as well, as I think these last 3 minutes of the quarter are going to be a lot of charity stripe visits for both teams.
Yeah, get ready for a lot of stop-start here, folks. As now coming into the game is pretty much a full new set. 3 new players will enter for the Nighthawks.
One thing to note, coming into the game, Northwest Nazarene an 80% from the line free throw team. Central Washington only 70%, as Kai does knock down that first one. So a little bit of an advantage, even if that ends up only meaning 1 or 2 points. That's all that it takes sometimes.
And now Asher Kai attempting the second shot. That one will be good. So Kai pushes her total on the night to 3 points.
As Leishman will sub out for Malia Smith.
And now the Nighthawks get ready. Inbounding will be Madeline Gabers. She tosses into Wells. The Wildcats starting to implement a bit of their own full court press. Not as much as we've seen from Northwest Nazarene in terms of intensity, as now Clark hands it off. And Skrull on the outside are the Nighthawks here. Pass out to Clark. She steps forward, driving against Huerta. Puts up the shot. That one is off. And that one's going to be lost after a couple of Nighthawks collide. This is a 3-on-5 for the Cats. And Asher Kai lucky to draw the foul up under the rim. And it has been one of those nights for her. That's the 6th foul committed by the Nighthawks tonight.
As the visiting team seemed to skirmish for the ball against each other and commit a foul on each other, which led to a 5-3 break and not able to finish at the rim, but Kai does draw the foul and will knock down her first free throw, as she's now sitting at 4 points on the night, all of them at the charity stripe.
And now the second shot coming. Second shot going to be drained. So just like that, Asher Kai with a couple more points to her total. Now bringing it up is Gabers. Coming in strong. She's going to pass to Clark, and a foul is called on that one as well. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not much Huerta can do in that situation. She went as straight up as she could, but the defense gets the benefit of the call right there.
Yeah.
We'll have a chance at 3 as Huerta. That is her 3rd foul, which could mean that we don't see her until the 4th now as Coronado checks in for her.
Yeah, incredibly possible there, Michael. And it will be Kendall Clark to shoot the free throws here. First opportunity coming. And that one's knocked down. The first and only, I should have said. As now Annalie Coronado brings it up for the Cats, directing the offense here. She's going to move it over to Asher Kai. Kai now on the drive. We're going to lose it for a second. Get it to Coronado. Coronado finds some space, moves forward, back out Kai. Kai with a mid-range opportunity, doesn't take it, instead passes out to the corner. Now Kira Marsh, back out Kai. Kai for three, and she's going to miss that one. Rebound goes to the point guard, Wells. Wells working against Marsh. She's going to toss that one forward for Clark. Clark now to the other end, the other Clark. And now back out, and there's going to be a travel called against Madeline Gabers, the top scorer on the night for the Nighthawks. So a tough misstep there for her as she turns possession back over to the Cats, who lead it by 5.
As we have just under 2 minutes to play now in the third, it'll be interesting to see how intense these teams try and go on both sides of the floor to get that momentum building.
And now here's Asher Kai. Kai over to Coronado. Coronado on the drive. She's got all kinds of space, and she'll use it well.
Coronado, usually a person that drives but stops, look for the extra pass there, just finishes at the rim for 2 easy points. And it looks like an out-of-bounds call, but it will stay with the visiting team as...
A little bit too aggressive is Asher Kai on that one. She gets her finger on it before it goes out. Coming into the game will be Aaliyah Finch in the place of Capri Sims.
So it looks like they're trying to give most of the starters a little bit of rest for the fourth quarter push.
And now getting ready. They are going to inbound that, and a quick shot is put up by Kate Clark, but missed. And now there's Smith. She's going to get it over to Coronado. Coronado working on the top of the key. She's going to drive in on the right side, go for it, and get fouled. A lot of late foul calls. The whistle's not blowing the second contact hits. It's blowing after a little bit of thinking about it, and it really, as a fan, it starts to get you questioning what call is what and the conviction, if you will. But one way or another, the foul is called, so Annalie Coronado with a couple of shots at the line, and she has been good from there, 80% coming into this game, as she's going to knock down the first one.
Yep, now 82% right there was just that one shot.
And she will miss the second. So now, taken back over are the Nighthawks. Clark bringing it up the left side. She's going to be guarded by Finch as she's going to make another pass out left. Back to her. Clark now on the drive. Got an open paint, but the scoring opportunity is going to come because she gets fouled.
And that one will very clearly go against Finch right there. Her contact, her third foul of the game. And just like that, Sims will sub right back in for Finch, as it's going to be an interesting balance for the Wildcats for the rest of the game with that foul trouble. As you mentioned earlier, most of the players that have seen heavy minutes have multiple fouls.
And so Kendall Clark shoots the free throw and knocks it down. Getting ready to check in for the Cats is Riley Leishman.
As I would not be surprised if she ends up subbing in for Asher Kai possibly to give her some rest going into the fourth quarter.
And the second one is put up, and it's knocked down. Just like that, Leishman comes into the game, and it will be
Malia Smith who comes out instead.
So getting a little bit more size on that one. Capri Sims, inbounder, gets it over to Coronado. Coronado now going to lose the ball, but a foul will be called. A lot of fouls here tonight.
That one will be against Loy Wade, now her fourth on the game. And quickly, Danica Starr is going to be coming into the game for her, as Wade now a foul away from ending her night.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is just not the place to be in if you are Wade. Yeah. Now, Coronado gets ready to shoot.
Wade has been one of their better defensive players so far this season, and you wonder if her seeing fewer minutes in the fourth quarter out of foul safety could help the Wildcats get that offensive going on the interior as Coronado knocks down the first free throw.
7-point lead for the Cats here. A chance for her to push that forward one more. Coronado now getting ready, and she'll hit it. So just like that, the Wildcats lead it by 8, 47-55, your score. And bringing it up will be Gabers once more. Matched up with Annalie Coronado. She hands this one off to Kendall Clark. Clark now to the inside with Starr. Starr outside for Clark once more. Gets it to her sister. That was Kendall to Kate. Kate with it. She's going to drive, kick it out to the outside with Kendall, and to the inside to Starr. She's going to put up the shot and get it to go. Looks like Leishman hit her head on the ground.
Yeah, it looks like she lost her footing, and this will be a timeout as...
Definitely not doing well on the ground, so they're going to take a timeout. We'll take one, too. Be back with you in just a little bit here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream. 88 won the Berg, Your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Happy to announce that we did see Leishman make it off the court under her own power, and just like that, we are in a situation where the referees are going to review what happened on that last play, figure out where play should go, and when that time comes, we will return with you here on 88 won the Berg, as well as your CW Athletics live stream. 88 won the Berg, Your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. We are back and ready to begin action. The final 37 seconds in this third quarter of action, ready to be played as Capri Sims, the inbounder, is going to toss it up for Coronado. Coronado now coming up the left side. She's going to stop and get it to Kai. They're trying to fight against the full court press here, as now Coronado's doubled. She's going to move it to Sims. Sims now to Kai. Kai, she's throwing out a signal here. She gets it to Coronado. Coronado now looking for some sort of opportunity. She's going to move out right, still remaining on the perimeter. Now going to toss this one over, and it'll find its way into the hands of Marsh. Marsh has 4 seconds to work with. Toss out for Kai. Kai, scrolling shot from the mid-range. It's off. Rebound to the Cats. And it's going to be intercepted, headed for Marsh on the perimeter. A shot's put up to end the quarter. It will not be good. So, as it lies at the end of 3, your totals 55-49. The Wildcats lead it by 6. We'll be back in just a moment for the beginning of the fourth and final quarter of action. '88 won the Berg, Your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Folks, we are back and ready for the beginning of the fourth quarter of action between your Central Washington Wildcats and the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will look to see how the Cats adjust for the fourth to see if they can't just hold on to their 6-point lead. And Blodgett, the inbounder, she's going to give it up to Coronado. Coronado being swarmed by Wells here. Wells moving her way backwards with Coronado. And she's going to shoot this one out left for Huerta. Huerta now over to Blodgett. Blodgett inside for Sims. She's going to take a step over, get it to Blodgett, who will miss the shot. Now open ball. It's going to be picked up by Kai, who gets it back out for Coronado. Now over to Blodgett. Blodgett gets the ball blocked on an attempted pass. Coronado with it now. She gets it over to Huerta. Huerta moving herself forward, has 5 seconds to work with Sims now. Sims puts up the interior shot. That one's off. Rebound Blodgett. Now the third chance. And Kai's going to get it up, but it's not going to matter as whistles blow and Nighthawks take possession.
Unfortunately, that shot did not hit the rim, so the shot clock never reset, and the Wildcats get a bit of an unlucky break right there, not being able to get some points on the board.
And now Wells to Clark. Clark to Clark, as now it's back out. And it's in the hands of Gabers. Gabers now driving in on the left end. She's going to put this one up, and it's missed. Rebound Blodgett. Just great interior effort from her tonight. As now here's Coronado driving up the left end. She's got Wells right in front of her. Now going to use the left end, cut off and throw it to Blodgett. Blodgett now up to Kai. Kai on the drive. She's going to be blocked cleanly. And Starr with it. She gets it over to Wells. Wells now coming up the right side. Coronado right in front of her. And now Wells back out. And it finds its way into the hands of Kate Clark. And a foul is going to be called against Shelby Blodgett. Not what you want to see, her 4th of the night.
That is a tough call right there, as it was away from the play. Hard to even know if that was a full-on contact, but...
And it looks like we're going to get both of the bigs in the game for Central Washington here, as Blodgett will check out and Finch will come in her place. So now the front court commanded by both Asher Kai and Aaliyah Finch. As the Nighthawks get ready to go here, it's Starr with it. She moves it over to Wells. Wells now going to move this one off the leg of Capri Sims, so a kickball violation there. 6 points still separate these two squads with 8 minutes, 23 seconds remaining. Now getting ready to toss this one back in is Gaber. She moves it in for Starr. This one up and off the rim, trying to go for it again, and holding strong is Aaliyah Finch, but not before another shot is attempted. Rebound goes to Capri Sims. Losing it is Asher Kai, and Wells puts up a midi. This one's off. Rebound should have been to Finch. It's lost, and inside scoring is going to be the name of that drive for Northwest Nazarene, as now the Wildcats get ready to try and answer back on this one. Coronado puts up a quick shot, and she's going to draw a foul. Very different drives there for both of those two teams.
Yeah, as I mentioned it earlier, the Wildcats need to limit possessions, and right there, the Nighthawks got 3 extra possessions on the same play, as it looks like Finch will come to the sideline after some not great rebounding we just saw, and freshman Jory DeMott is going to come in getting a bit of an extended look today with an injury and foul trouble across the board. As Coronado knocks down her first free throw, she's got 8, almost all of them from the free throw line tonight.
And so she'll attempt her second one, a chance to push the lead up to 6, and she's going to get it. So Annalie Coronado continuing to show off well from the charity stripe, as here bringing it up is Danica Starr. Starr on the left end. She's going to move this one out right, and now on the drive of the Nighthawks. This one pass for the interior, and it's a steal by Sims. And now Coronado with it, ball in hand. She's going to toss up to Huerta. Huerta getting the screen from Sims. Instead, she won't use it. Goes up and over, and just like that, the first couple of points of the game for the Wildcats, Jordy DeMott. Bringing it up now is Starr once more. She'll move this one over to Kate Clark. Clark now on the drive working against Huerta. Goes up and over. Here's the three-point shot, attempted and missed. Rebound goes to Huerta. That one attempted by Davis. Coronado to Kai for 3, knocks it down. Asher Kai with the three-point shot. She's going to hit her first of the game, bring her a little bit closer to what could be herself or Sunny Huerta taking over the spot for the most three-pointers ever hit by a Wildcat. We continue to watch that number as it raises for both of those two players. But for now, a timeout on the court. We'll take 1-2. Be back in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Kick. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks look to get something going. And here's Capri Sims on the steal. She'll stop, put up the shot, get it to go. So Capri Sims coming out of the break with a whole lot of energy. She gets her 8th points of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, another little bit that we'd like to bring your attention to. Right before we sent it off to break, we saw the first made field goal as a Wildcat for Jordy DeMott. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing many, many more here at Nicholson Pavilion. Now on the other end, here are the Nighthawks. Moving out right are the Nighthawks, as this one's going to find its way out of bounds. That was Chloe DeHaro who attempted the pass there.
As a very interesting start to all of this.
And, yeah, very interesting start. As here is Capri Sims, the inbounder for the Cats, as that ball will be ruled for the Wildcats. Central leads by 13 right now, as here comes Huerta up the right side. Huerta now going to pass over to Kai. Asher Kai now looking to go back to Huerta. Now here's Huerta over to Kai. On the outside now, she's going to drive forward. And she's going to lose it. And it's going to be a jump ball. And you just got to make that pass. You have to make that pass.
Yep, and it'll be Nighthawks ball going the other way as they're in their biggest deficit of the game, 13 down. And the Wildcats offense has been moving super impressively in the second half. So we'll see if Nazarene can try and cut into this lead to make one last push at the game.
And so now this one going to move out for Clark. And she's going to toss it to the top of the key with her sister. Kate Clark knocks it down. The Clark to Clark connection. 53-64 your score. As now here's Asher Kai. She brings it up. She's going to stop for a moment, swing back around, give it out to Huerta. Huerta now to the left side with Kira Marsh. Marsh now moves out right a little bit, gives it to Sims. Sims at the top of the free throw arc. She's going to move it to Huerta. Huerta to Marsh for 3. That one's off. Rebound Kai. Back out Marsh. Marsh on the drive. She'll stop and kick it back up for Asher Kai. And they're going to call a timeout here, it appears. And so just like that, Coach Richardson is going to call that timeout. We'll be back in just about 30 seconds here on 88.1 The Berg. The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Gildersleeve here alongside the color commentator Michael Jones as we get ready to finish out this matchup between your Wildcats and the opposing Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. An 11-point lead right now for the Wildcats as they welcome NNU into the home court at Nicholson Pavilion. Here's Annalie Coronado moving this one out left for Asher Kai. Kai now looks like she was going to give it back. Instead, she goes to Huerta. Huerta now passes out left for Coronado. Coronado to Kai on the sideline, but it finds its way out of bounds, and NNU takes over.
I almost got involved in the game right there. That one was right at me. So
I was going to say.
Would have been a perfect assist, but I don't know if I can make this shot from here.
So the inbound comes from Brugman over to Wells. Wells will be matched up with Coronado as she moves it back out left a couple of times here. Now it's up to number 22, Wade. She, of course, has been a topic of conversation with quite a few fouls to her total, 4 to be exact, as she's going to receive the ball on the inside, put up the shot, and miss. Rebound to Capri Sims. And what do we see there, Michael?
As it looks like it'll be a foul against... Oh, it'll be a foul against Wade.
Oh.
I thought that might have just been a jump ball or some situation, but that is against Wade. That is her 5th, so she is out of the game.
Wow.
For the Nighthawks. That is a tough blow right there for Northwest Nazarene's comeback hopes as the Wildcats now up 11 with a advantage.
Maybe the first time as in my career as the broadcaster for CW basketball I've ever seen a foul out. As here's Asher Kai on the drive. She's going to stop, swing it into Capri Sims. Sims now trying to use the body, unable to. She'll kick it over into the hands of number 24 for your Wildcats, Aaliyah Finch. And just like that, the Cats with a little bit of momentum here. Here's Clark with it. on the drive, working against Capri Sims, and they're going to call a foul here. Curious if this goes against Huerta. Had a clear view of her hand right on the ball, so they'll call it against Huerta, or excuse me, against Coronado.
I would say Huerta was making proper defense right there, but Coronado on the backside unfortunately added a little bit too much extra contact. That'll be her second for the Wildcats here in the quarter. 3 of the players in the game for the Wildcats in foul trouble now.
And now Gaber's going to toss into Clark. Clark now over to Clark as Kendall Clark puts up the shot and knocks it down. The foul's going to come about a second and a half after it occurred, so that's an interesting one. Waiting for the shot to go up, but
that'll be the 4th against Aaliyah Finch, as it looks like there's going to be a substitution coming in, and the leading scorer for the Wildcats, Shelby Blodgett's going to come back in the game, also with 4 fouls. So right now, the post for both of these two teams is in a bit of trouble here with 4 minutes to go, as I think both of them are going to have to try and limit their contact lest a tough call goes their way.
So Kendall Clark at the line now to shoot a few more. She'll put that one up and knock it down. Just like that, it cuts separation to 10 points between these two teams. Central into the driver's seat here, as now with the ball in hand is Blodgett. She's going to move it to Coronado. Coronado now over to Huerta. Huerta to the corner. 3 is put up. 3 is knocked down, and you can put it on the tab of Asher Kai. Heating up a little bit as this game goes on. Now on the drive, it's going to be stolen by Blodgett. Blodgett now moves this one over to Huerta. Huerta to Coronado. Coronado to Kai. Kai surveying and gives it to Coronado. Coronado now going to work her way inside. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. This one up and over to Blodgett. And she continues on a hot streak. 15 points for her tonight. What a game it has been for Shelby Blodgett, playing perfect basketball down under, and you really just have to appreciate that one, as one way or another, these two teams are going at it. They are putting themselves in situations to get looks when they fall. I just think that the paint presence from both of these two teams has been palpable throughout specifically this second half. I mean, I feel like the more that we're seeing the ball get fed inside, the more we're seeing opportunities come from different sources. Gabriel, what can you tell me about that?
It's looking amazing for the Wildcats right now. They go low with Shelby Blodgett, who's having a career day tonight. A wonderful game. And then when the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks have to go down low to defend it, they just send it right back up to the perimeter where you've got Asher Kai, who's slowly starting to heat up and pick up his pace. And then Coronado's been making shots all night.
Yeah.
It's looking amazing for the Wildcats right now.
It really is. I mean, it's the setup that you want to see if you are Coach Richardson. As on the court, we'll have 3 minutes and 29 seconds remaining coming out of this timeout. Do keep in mind that starting at 4 o'clock today will be the matchup between your CWU men's team and rival Western Washington University. Folks, that game starts a little bit after this one ends, and yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one. So don't leave your seat when this matchup concludes, as we are not done bringing the basketball to you. It will be Starr, the inbounder for the Nighthawks. She'll toss this one up for Wells, and now Wells coming up the left end. As previously mentioned, just under 3.5 minutes left in this matchup. Rebound going to go to Kira Marsh as she fights for that one. Now Sunny Huerta brings it up against Wells. She's going to kick it over to Marsh. Marsh now steps forward and gives to Huerta. Huerta to Kai. Kai now surveying her options. She's got the screen from Blodgett. She'll use it. But great defense from Wells on the perimeter here, not letting her go anywhere, as now Marsh gets it again. Good bounce pass to Huerta. They've got 8 seconds to work with here. Got to get inside of the arc at some point. Huerta for the mid-range. Knock it down, why don't ya? Nighthawks take back over on the 2 points from Huerta. Here's Danica Starr. She moves this one up to Clark. Kate Clark now on the drive out right. She's going to move this one back out to the exterior. Here's Wells with it, matched up nicely with Marsh. Now back out, and it's Gabers. She's going to move over to Kendall Clark, takes the long shot. That one's off, and again, listen, you don't want to tear down the performance of your players, but Asher Kai tonight not doing any positive effort on the rebounding side.
Unfortunate news for the Wildcats, as that is against Blodgett, her 5th foul, so she will also now be fouled out. But what a game for Shelby Blodgett. Career highs in both points and blocks with 15 and 4. as well as 8 rebounds to go along with
Blocks or steals?
Or steals.
I was going to say.
4 steals is a career high for, but still incredible performance and really has given the Wildcats a huge boost and why they're up 15 as it will send Starr to the line shooting to try and make a 3-point play, but she will miss.
And it's going to find its way into the hands of Coronado on the ground. Now Finch with it.
And it'll be a timeout taken by Richardson. A smart play right there to maintain possession in a game where this is still anybody's reach.
Yeah.
And it'll be just under 2.5 left to play. Wildcats up 15 and with the ball coming out of the timeout.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick it off to a break. And when we come back, we'll have hopefully the final 220 for you, but I can't promise anything. For right now, we'll be back in just a moment. '88 won the Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Here's Sunny Huerta moving it into Capri Sims, and a foul immediately going to be called against the Nighthawks.
That'll be against Shaughnessy Davis. That is the first time that her name has been called today, but the second foul for her, third against the Nighthawks in the quarter.
And now Sunny Huerta, the inbounder for the Cats. She's going to toss it into Sims. Sims now back to Huerta. Huerta now drives up. Takes a step back. She's going to move this one out left for Asher Kai. Kai not going to give it to Coronado on the swing. Instead, she'll drive forward. Now passing this one out to Huerta. Sunny Huerta now over to Kai. Kai on the drive uses the inside, and she's unable to convert. Now the ball is going to be taken away there, and a foul will be called against Aaliyah Finch, I believe.
And that would be her 5th. And that is true. So Leah Finch now has fouled out as well, as just too much contact right there for a ball that I don't think she was ever going to be able to get. And for the rest of the game now, the Nighthawks will be in the bonus.
And so with that, coming into the game will be Jordy DeMont. As we previously mentioned, Jordy DeMont scoring her first field goal for the Wildcats, or at least in a Wildcat jersey, if you will.
And if she's able to put up another 270 field goals, she could set a Central Washington record today.
As Chloe DeHaro will knock down the first.
We're on milestone watch right here in the last 2 minutes in the pavilion.
Yeah, you know, I also heard that coming into this MLB season, Daniel Vogelbach only needs to hit 632 home runs in order to break that Hank Aaron record. As Capri Sims giving this one into Annalie Coronado. Coronado now back to Sims. Sims to Huerta. Huerta going to that was a punch to the wrist right there. Proper foul called. It'll be the 4th against Northwest Nazarene this quarter.
You can feel if there's a bit more desperation in the trap and aggressiveness right now for the Nighthawks, as rather than being more contained and controlled like they were, they're just going a little bit wild, just trying to get anything they can. And they're going to go small ball now for the Wildcats, as DeMont will sub out for Malia Smith in what is about as big a height difference you can have in a substitution.
It really is. Yeah, they're going to bring in a little bit more three-point prowess with that substitution, as now Coronado going to toss it forward. This one to Huerta. Huerta really had an open opportunity there if she wanted it. Doesn't turn around in time. And now a foul going to be called. It'll be a reach. And just like that, it'll be Chloe DeHaro picking up another foul, her 3rd of the game.
And that'll send Huerta to the line shooting 2, as they are in the bonus as well. That was an interesting call right there, as it didn't look like Northwest Nazarene was attempting to foul, but the Wildcats will thank whatever basketball fate they can, as Huerta will go to the line shooting too.
Yeah, and now the shot put up, and that one is off. DeMott also entering the game once again in the place of Malia Smith, so just that one play was she needed in that role, according to Coach Richardson. Second shot going to be put up and knocked down for Huerta. That gives her 11 points on the day, as now driving up are the Nighthawks, looking for the inside here. And
it'll be a double dribble against
wow.
the Nighthawks right there.
And they're going to do it again, bringing Malia Smith on defense once more.
Wait, no, they'll call that against Asher Kai, actually. It looked like it was a double dribble call, but it looks like they were going to call Asher Kai for a reach, which I guess makes more sense than a double dribble, but I
suppose so.
That's a tough call. That'll be the third against Kai. Not quite enough to be considered foul trouble yet.
Interesting where both things happen on one play and they choose which one to go for.
And if you believe that the ball does not lie, then right now pants are on fire as Davis misses both free throws right there for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, an interesting situation that they've found themselves in late in the game. It's a lot of pressure on them. And now we want to talk about double dribbles. Asher Kai commits one.
Looks like that might
or
have
excuse
been
me, a travel.
It was a combination of two. The ref just chose travel right there. It's just a little bit of a hiccup in the press break as both teams are just kind of – this has been a very referee stoppage-heavy last couple minutes of the game.
It really is. Now driving are the Nighthawks. They attempt a three, a desperation-type shot. Rebound will go to Kai. Kai now coming up the middle. She's going to toss out for Malia Smith. She'll stop, attempt to pass to Coronado. It will make it to her. She's being double-teamed on the outside. Now Smith going to go back to Coronado. Malia Smith with it in her hand. She's going to pass this one out to Huerta. Huerta now over to Asher Kai. Kai on the drive, gets it out for Smith. Smith, three. Unable to knock that one down, and the rebound goes to Clark. Clark now moves it over to DeHaro. DeHaro over, and that's going to find its way into the hands of Davis. Whistles will blow on the other end.
As it looks like Huerta poked the ball out of bounds, so it'll stay Nighthawks possession. But with 46 seconds left right now, the Wildcats are playing for a point margin right at this point in the game.
And so this one tossed in, and it's with Clark. Here's Kate Clark trying to pass for the inside, and it's going to wind up in the hands of Capri Sims. We'll have to check in on what the steal total is for her, too. Seems like she's been coming up with every lost ball from the Nighthawks when she's been in. As now here's Sunny Huerta with the ball in hand. She'll move it back over to Coronado. Coronado now over to Smith. They're just trying to cut down time here as Coronado now going to move this one up to Capri Sims. Sims now back to Coronado. Coronado to Smith. Smith to Kai. Kai in the corner takes the shot, misses. Rebound goes to Kai, and that's going to end the game right there. Ladies and gentlemen, your Wildcats win this one 74-60. They remain undefeated and give them 7-0 to open up the season 1-0 in conference play, as our first little bit of GNAC action is going to result in a win for your Wildcats. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great start to the GNAC season for both of these two teams. You've got to be happy with the way that these performances have worked themselves out. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we saw in that game and who the players that really jumped out were. Because if you ask me, there's a couple of different names you could toss about for player of the game. There really is. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome and we hope for the rest of the season that NNU has a great year for themselves. And just like that, everybody, what a game we just witnessed between these two teams. Of course, all of them doing their best to really to start this off and get a 1-0 start to GNAC play, though we knew coming into this one only one team would be able to bring that distinction home with them. The Wildcats are going to fit that groove here tonight. And now for the statistics, let's hear a little bit of what we saw in this game. Michael, what have you got for us?
Why are you assuming that I have the numbers?
I don't know.
I do, of course. But right now, if I have to give a player of the game, we talked about her throughout the day. We ask her every game to do anything, and today she did everything for the Wildcats. Shelby Blodgett, the junior, putting up career highs in both points and steals.